Okay, I said I was gonna call this dude out, and I'm gonna call this dude out. Andy Go. I know his name is Andy No, but this dude is a damn liar. He's one of these guys on the far right, on the very far right, and this dude's Asian. He's one of those. He's one of those guys that cape for the far right and use their talking points. And honestly, Eurasian Raider slash Eurasian Tiger, he would have exposed this dude. Rumor has it that he kind of roped himself. I hope that's not true. But he would expose people like this dude. But this guy going around saying that he's trying to say that black people are disproportionately attacking Asians. He was on this interview with this British person. It was on a British um channel, a British type of channel. I think it's called like GBS or something like that. But it shows how racist some of them people are down there in Britain. They was basically responding to this Asian woman complaining about Asian women being overly sexualized in the media. And basically the guys on here, Andy No and this British dude, was out here being dismissive, and they was deflecting the whole entire time. I'm trying to understand, how did that conversation get to black people attacking Asians? Like, it wasn't supposed to be about over hyperbolizing Asian women in the media. I'm trying to figure out how do black people, how we got anything to do with that. And he assists on claiming that these are deflections from the real problem. And then he tried to claim that the whole situation with that Eric Long guy who shot up all those Asian women in that massage parlor. He's claiming that the media and people roll with that and try to make a narrative out of it, because it was nothing racial about it when blatantly it was. Because let's keep it a buck. If there was a black person who did that, they would have labeled it as an anti-Asian hate crime off the bat while investigating to see if it was an Asian hate crime. He didn't even get charged with an anti-Asian hate crime while they was investigating. He didn't get charged. And he wants to talk about how people are just making up narratives and trying to roll with it. Bruh, some Asians and a lot of these so-called heterosexual white males out here been making up narratives and rolling with it for the past 2.5 years, since this whole COVID thing started. Trying to perpetuate a narrative that it's black people doing all these attacks against Asians when that's not even the case. Not even true. You guys take a few isolated incidents and you're trying to make a narrative, roll with a narrative, instead of getting the whole contents of the situation. Many of these incidents, if you actually get the contents, some of these black individuals or some homeless people, or they're not playing with a full debt, meaning some mental health problems, and then that's not even getting accounted for. Like that older Asian person who got pushed by that brother in New York. First of all, he didn't even know he was Asian. The guy was covered from head to toe, body facing the other direction, and the brother had some mental health problems, and he went on a random bizarre episode. That's how it is with somebody with low mental capacity, issues with mental health and stuff like that, they have a tendency to do more harm to themselves than anybody else, but they have a potential to do harm to people as well. But that didn't get taken account in the media. They just roll with a narrative that is because of black Asian tension. This has nothing to do with black Asian tension. We're not even beefing like that. It's not Charles and White versus China Matt type of beef. Not at all. Including some of these other incidents. Some of these guys had mental health problems, like that black person who attacked that Asian woman 125 times. First of all, he may not even been a black American. And yeah, he was dealing with some mental health problems. It's not even too many incidents like that. You got a handful of incidents. You might got like 12 to 17, maybe 20 incidents. All the whole batch, and that's it. And this is what I've been calling out. They focus on the first 12 to maybe 20 incidents that may have happened on our end, but they forget all the other 3,000, all the other thousands of incidents that's been happening in this country since 2020 to 2022. They skip over all these other incidents just to nitpick on the black ones. And you got the media lying. You got a lot of white folks, well, white men out here perpetuating a narrative and lying, and you have some Asian Americans rolling with that narrative. But this guy wants to talk about narrative, and then he's talking about how that these crimes are being committed disproportionately by black Americans, which is a lie. That's a damn lie. These attacks are not being made by black Americans disproportionately. It doesn't even make any sense. Let's just try to use our head. First of all, we're the number one receivers of hate crimes disproportionately. And two, we don't even live around Asians disproportionately. We're not even around Asians disproportionately. Y'all stay to yourselves, or y'all get around them folks. Y'all get around those folks, or you in a diverse neighborhood where there's a whole melting pot of other people. Other than that, we ain't even really around you. Even then, even with a diverse area, we still not even around each other like that. And I like how he brung up the fact that some black dude recently just basically robbed like 14 South Asian people. And you have to think about that. If he's able to do something like that, one, that means that he has experience. He's done this before plenty of times. Two, he probably done this to everybody. And most likely people, other black people. But because he happened to get at some Asians, all of a sudden you want to nitpick that situation and try to make a narrative. I mean, he's just going to skip over all the other stories. Dude, you had a white dude recently beat up a Filipino family. You had a white dude just beating up on Asian women for the past 4 hours. He beat up 7 Asian women. And then you had a white dude attack a 5-year-old girl just because he thought she was Japanese. No smoke for these stories. You had a Hispanic Karen going in on some Asians recently. And you had a Karen at Popeyes going in on some Asians. You had a Karen recently just paint um sprayed something on no mace, yeah, mace. Sprayed mace on a random Asian female's face and then went off a tangent. And by the way, no one stopped her. No, everybody just stood there and just let her go off. And recently, you had an Asian Karen out here going in on black folks in a New York train, calling all types of N words and stuff. And then he doesn't want to talk about the fact that there was a South Asian. I heard there was a South Asian dude brutally attack a elderly Chinese woman. See, no smoke for all of this. Cause it's getting annoying, man. These people want to lie on us. Always want to lie on us, bro. I'm tired of this narrative. We're not messing with these people, man. I got some data, some receipts to back up what I'm saying. So stop blaming black people for anti-Asian hate. Craig Harvey. He's the bro who made this article. He's talking about that situation in Atlanta where them 6 Asian women got shot up. At the time of this article, it was basically over 2,800 reports of Asian hate attacks against Asian Americans. Really, it's been thousands of them if you keep up to date, because I've been on the AAPI website and they've been updating. It's been like nearly 13,000 of these supposed crimes that's been happening in America so far. And you got goofies out here are going to try to insist that that's black people doing it by the thousands, really, and that we're disproportionately. It's just ridiculous at this point. If we had it out for them, they wouldn't be able to come in black areas getting money off of us like that. It's ridiculous. But what we shouldn't do is use it as an excuse to blame black people, as some have done. He's talking about how he's calling out the fact that there's a narrative that anti-Asian attacks are being perpetrated by black American youth based off a few wildly videos on social media. And by the way, they skip over all the other videos of white folk and other ethnic groups out here getting into situations with Asians. They skip over those videos as well. There's even videos and crime reports in other Western countries like Canada, a couple instances in Australia and Europe as well. No one's calling that out. That's not getting called out. Some Singaporean dude got beat up in Europe. Mouth blood and everything. I've seen it. That's not getting called out. He's calling out the fact that this white guy on Twitter, he tried to say that is simply a fact that the demographic disproportion most likely to commit hate crime is African American, which is not even true. And this is by Andrew Silverman. Sylvan. There's his tweet right here. Look at him. The problem is this just isn't true facts, because one recent study provided the justification to claim that non-whites were the majority of perpetrator of Asian American hate crimes. I forgot the name of it. I knew about this study. I just forgot the name of it, and they're explaining the name right now. American. The study was published in the American Journal of Criminal Justice. It was based on data from 1992 to 2014. So this data goes back all the way to the 90s, all the way up to the 2010s. And it identifies the perpetrators of hate crimes against Asian Americans are overwhelmingly white by 74.6%. Are committed by white assailants. But yet Andy Ngo is claiming that these attacks are disproportionately by blacks, which is not true. Okay. And he's acknowledging that this data doesn't cover the current attacks, but the data, it's most likely haven't changed that dramatically. And he's right, it haven't, because the AAPI researchers did a statistic, and it still haven't changed basically. Okay, he said no evidence claiming that blacks or most of these majority of these attacks are being perpetrated by blacks. There's no proof of that at all. And if you ask most black people, will say that's cap, because it's cap. And yeah, I heard this talking point that African Americans were being protected in the media, we're protecting race in the media, which is stupid, because we've always been propagandized in the media for decades. I argue even over 100 years. If you had the original Birth of a Nation, the first American movie that's ever been made in this country, it had a whole bunch of anti-black male propaganda, and I even say all the way to these wars, there was propaganda being sprouted about black folks. In the Korean War, the Vietnam War, they tried to do other European people like this, like the French, but the French called out the bullshit. They didn't believe what they said. They actually gave black folk the benefit of the doubt during those times. Surprisingly, when it really wasn't a good time to being black. And then you look at the media, they always portray us as the bad guy, deadbeat, we don't take our responsibilities, criminals, thugs. The media always finds a way. They've been doing this for decades, always making our image look bad. So what the hell are some of these Asian Americans talking about when they're saying that we're being protected in the media? That's not the case at all. That's never been the case in this country. Even immigration, when it comes to immigration, there's anti-black propaganda. They tell these people to stay away from us and tell them all types of negative images about us. And it's tell them to stay away from Black Americans and stuff like that. So you don't think they're telling these other people that you might immigrate here in this country? Blatant propaganda, and you just writing us off without even getting to knowing us, prejudging without even getting to knowing people. And it's like this by design. Okay. Okay. This article was written by two Asian American researchers, Jennifer Lee and Tiffany Hung. Why the trope of Black Asian conflict in the face of anti-Asian violence dismisses solidarity. They made an article. Man, March of last year, over 3,000 self-reported incidents. Most of these crimes are not even violent. They're just verbal, being shunned, and a lot of name calling. They admitted that this narrative is kind of evoking a anti-Black sentiment. They're talking about the whole Black Korean thing and the LA riots, but the thing is, it wasn't really about Black and Koreans. The whole LA riot thing. They did a recent study finds that in fact, Christian nationalism is the strongest predator of xenophobic views of COVID-19, which Christian nationalism is greater among white respondents compared to Black respondents. And moreover, Black Americans have also experienced high levels of racial discrimination since the pandemic began. See, here's the real facts out here. I don't understand why people are trying to perpetuate this narrative that Black people are going around just attacking the Asians by the thousands. It's crazy to me because we got all this data and people still want to be dismissive. Man, got some more. It says about the hate crimes rise to the highest in 12 years, increasing attacks on Black and Asian peoples. FBI said so. Black people I called this out last year. Black people was going through hate crimes too during the pandemic. Actually, a lot more than Asians. But the narrative wasn't black people. The narrative was Asian. And it is what it is. They got that little moment. Not hating on that. But both groups were going through some hate crimes, which kind of debunks this whole thing where black people are the most, we're mainly the ones doing hate crime against people. But how are we the ones doing hate crime against people, mainly doing hate crimes against people, when we're still number one when it comes to receiving hate crimes? Like, the ratio doesn't even make sense. I've seen the comment section and you got people being racist. You got white men and Asian men in the comment section being racist. I don't even see white women like that. I don't even see some of these Asian females in the comment section like that in these videos. I see a lot of so-called heterosexual white men and Asian men, the evil white men and so-called Asian man. I seen this comment the other day. I'm just not figuring out, that's some kind of crime racist crime theory, just like the whole IQ theory. They try to put a race, some type of race thing on it, talking about how the IQ is based on race. Have y'all ever heard of that race IQ theory? Now they're doing it with crime. Look at the comment section. Yeah, another sweep of hate crime stories without anyone mentioning that it's blacks and Latinos that over responded as a proportion of their population. Actually, that's not true. It's overwhelmingly white folks doing these attacks, bro. 20% of offenders are black. That's not true. Where are you getting this data from? This is not true. This dude's lying. He doesn't even have the data to back it up. No, we're not. How are we higher than 20%? Making them 2 times as likely to commit hate crimes compared to whites. Are you freaking kidding me? Fam, it's more whites than black people here. How are you even oh my goodness. This guy math is all over the place. Well, it's been proven anyway. It's been proven that it's white people making these crimes, bro. You could make all the fake statistics you want to, dude. Is this the new racist dog whistle? Going after black people wasn't enough. You have to go after brown people too with your 1350 line. It's facts. The 1350 line is supported by facts. How is it supported by facts? It's not. It contradicts the data. All the data that's out here. No, you're just trying to fit a narrative. It doesn't fit into the black victim category. Nah, you're trying to make up shit so you can make black people the bad guy to fit your narrative. That's what you're trying to do. Looks like I was right about it. About that whole 1350. I just did some research on it. It's basically this whole thing. This it's a white supremacist dog whistle term. Basically, 13% of the population, 50% of the crime. All right, and then some idiot saying that proportionally blacks commit the most hate crimes, which is a lie. How we commit the most hate crimes? We're the number one receiver of hate crimes. They've also been attacking Asians the most of other demographics, which is a lie. That's a lie that's been disproven. Using the same FBI stats, they've been the most violent race for 20 plus years. That's actually not true. Data says otherwise. That's data all the way back to the 90s that says otherwise. I just exposed that. That's not true at all. They attack whites more than whites attack them. That's not true. Blacks attack each other more than anybody else. And as a matter of fact, most of the crime, majority of black crime is based on that's not true. This is not true. For the last month, there's been plenty of articles emphasizing racial tension between black Americans and Asian Americans. This is especially true to the wake of anti-Asian violence spiking in America. The phases of a silence are often portrayed as blacks. This is curious since the majority of anti-Asian hate crimes in America are committed by white men. Oh my goodness. Facts. But why are black people still getting blamed for this? In fact, a 21 study reported that 75% of Asian hate crime assailants were white men. And through the study was based on data from 1992 to 2014. And the current number is likely higher. The narrative of violent young black men is a false one. But the gripe of anti-blackness on the United States is powerful. Even when presented with overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the black community is often blamed. Thank you for pointing this out. Many of the members of the AAPI community, basically the Asian community, have brought into lies, furthering distrust and detention. This is what I've been trying to say, man. This is all lies, man. During Reconstruction era, the Ku Klux Klan target Chinese workers. Yeah, I already know about the Gold Rush massacres. They used to go in the Chinese communities, burn their house, terrorize them too, just like they did black folks. During like the mid to early to mid to late 1800s. Anti-Filipino riots in the 1929 to 1930. I ain't know about that. Yeah, of course the Japanese internment camps. And despite all this history that Asian Americans have with these folks, y'all still get cozy up with these folks. Against each other, despite both groups suffering from acts of racism, violence, and brutal discrimination. I mean, blatant discrimination. Working together. Does the narrative? She said that there are already AAPI and black folks, mutual aid groups, communities working together. Why does the narrative rarely focus on that? I wonder why. I didn't know this. I actually did not know that. Black and Asian groups working together. I didn't even know this. Including people Asian Americans. Most people, including Asian Americans, have never heard of Asian American activists such as Grace Lee Brooks. Yep. And Yuri. Yeah, I heard of both of them. Does it serve to make the face of anti-Asian hate a black man? It obviously doesn't serve black communities, but it doesn't serve the AAPI communities either. White supremacy gets some of its power by deflecting attention away from itself. Facts. What has they been doing for the past 2.5 years? Now they're gonna do it again once they get rid of this affirmative action. They're gonna blame everything on the Asians, and y'all kind of did do it to yourselves. Y'all kind of did set yourselves up for that. Now y'all about to get really y'all thought that Asian hate was bad. Now y'all just open up a can of worms. Now people are really gonna be mad at you. But showed y'all all the receipts so we can finally put this narrative on ice. And I'm gonna make a part two to this. I'll show you the receipts when it comes to the data. And I'm about to show you receipts when it comes to actually film. This whole narrative that black people are just out here by the thousands. I'm not saying that we're perfect. I'm not saying that we're completely innocent. But this narrative that we're disproportionately committing crimes against Asian Americans, doing hate crimes and stuff, that's just cap, man. As a matter of fact, even some our subculture don't really get down like that. I admit we got our fair share of bad apples and knuckleheads out here, but even on the subculture level, we don't really get down like that. Cause they look over all these other ethnic groups in a lot of white folk that just getting in these situations with them. And I'm just now figuring out how the Hispanics got something against Asians. What got it out for Asians, specifically the Mexicans. And I'm not saying that every single Mexican is like that, but I have heard this long internal confliction between the so-called Mexicans and the Asians. I've been watching other people's videos who talk about this whole anti-Asian thing, and there was this dude who talked about it, and then he talking about how a lot of Asians had beef with Mexicans. A lot of the Mexicans had it out for some of these Asians. They'll bang on each other, bro. Like, especially in the prison system as well. I'm just not hearing this. Like in the prisons, don't nobody really fuck with the Asians, man. The Aryan Nation, they don't really fuck with them. The Mexicans don't really fuck with them. The only ones who really fuck with the Asians like that are the blacks. The black dudes. They get around each other in the prisons. When it comes to this race politics shit, prison politics, they kind of rock together. The black dudes they don't really got anything against the Asians. Even on the gang level, Asian gangs don't really bang out on the black gangs, and the black gangs don't really bang out on the Asian gangs. They actually somewhat link up with each other. In the prison system, well, the Mexicans, bro, they bang out on the Asians to the point where they would kill them. And then the Asians, they roll with the blacks. The blacks, they look out for them. And I've seen an old video of a Korean dude talking about how he tried to claim that like Latinos don't like Asians and blacks. I seen an older video, like a 10-year-old video of that. A Korean dude saying something like that in LA. And everything's starting to match up. This is not being talked about. I seen a story with some Italians going in on this Asian lady, owner of a Chinese restaurant, and I think she kind of dismissed the charges. But that's all I wanted to say, man. Let me get out of here. I've been on here for too long.